Good morning, everyone. I'm Dhairya, here at Undefined Voices. And today, I decided to visit my old school. I wanted to start something. I wanted to start this, and I wanted to begin here. Because this place, the teachers here, the environment here has formed me what I am into today. And today, here with me, I have the Chief Academic Director of Learning with Education System and the Principal, Cambridge International Foundation School, which is also one of the first IB schools in Punjab. Ma'am, throughout your journey, you have led such great things. You're here right now, you guide almost every student in the school every single day. You play an role in everyone's life here. How do you think you go with that? And what's your take on helping people throughout life and creating such a large impact?
First of all, Dharya, how proud I am and grateful that you're starting this journey from your school. And I can share with you my journey as you spoke about it, and we've been part of some of it together. The first thing we do in this school, and you know, it is relationships, which are very genuine. And because of the genuinity, the expectations are real. We all set up something which is real, and we communicate a lot. And the communication is open ended. There isn't a barrier of one will take and the other would give. We have always built on those, I always say, the dialogues, negotiations, acceptance, authority sometime, yes, when we understand that experience has brought us here, and we can share that with you. And on your side, all the students here have been very accepting. They realize that the school means good for them. So the first thing this school stands for is that relationship between one another, right from, I know, Kipti Bhaiya to everybody around.
Definitely. I think that plays a really good, nice role in helping them be friendlier and helping them feel like family. Because I've spent about 12 to 13 years in this school, and this place has been home. Like coming back today feels like I am in home.
Absolutely.
It's amazing to be back.
And it's amazing to see you.
Talking about how your relationships have been with staff members, student, and the entire faculty, what do you think? What does student well-being will mean to you beyond academics? Because while I was here, I've seen you being involved with all the students. Like you were our English teacher for a while, and we used to have a few healthy discussions beyond just studying English in classes as well. So what's your take on that? Because I feel like you have a lot to say about that.
As we've been together, and classrooms for me, being the head teacher and also a subject teacher, for me, what was important is that you know why you are learning, what is being given to you. Whether it was in the form of a very structured or very inquiry based or other model, you were always part of the decision making. So, the first thing I feel all students and teachers must understand is that learning or academics will only shine if we understand we are learning together. And that's what this school, you remember how many times, because we were the only IB school, inquiry was the core. People used to say, books nahi hain. What do you teach? You don't test them. How will they learn to say things, do things? But we stood by because we negotiated. You wanted to learn something, we wanted you to take something from that, and we created that environment. You know, ecosystem was set up like that. So for me, your well-being means an academic, yes, it's part, but it's not the end of everything. Your ability to communicate what you feel, your ability to accept that I'm here now and I will be going ahead. And our ability to together see the things, not being opaque and wishing to accept what is said once. How many times we used to change the systems here? How many times we used to redo things here? Till we all agreed that yes, you know, that reaches out to everyone. And in that journey, I saw a lot of you. Even if you were quiet, but I still remember you would come up and express yourself. And you had built great friendships. And that was because you accepted the resilience to stand up for the moments. We had so many of those moments when we had to take the calls. We had so many of our friends with whom we had to talk. So these are your well-beings where you know that it's okay. I'm okay as I am. That's very important for this school.
Throughout school life or like a person's childhood, they spend about one third of their entire childhood in a school, 8 to 9 hours a day, is almost that number. And while spending such a large time in a school, surrounded by such people, people like you who are always willing to willing to let your students come up to you and do things like this. How I sent an email last night and you replied, and I'm here today. It's amazing to have people like this, people like you, who, even at such high authority levels, are still very open. How do you think in a person's life, when they're spending one third of their entire childhood in school, how does school play a role for them to create purpose in life? How for them to have that curiosity towards life? How to find a purpose in life? Because beyond academics, in this school, being an IB school, we used to have a lot of field trips as well. We used to maybe visit dental clinics. I still remember a field trip like that. And it used to be really fun. It used to tell us that yeah, there's maybe the dental sector, there's other sectors you can explore and like do further in life, maybe make a career out of it. So beyond just those field trips, beyond the IB curriculum, what do you think our school does in order to achieve that?
There you've almost summed up very nicely. The variety of experiences that were given to you. That the purpose was again that each one of you would see things differently, adapt to them and adopt them differently, and each memory would be either learning or it would be something experience that you like to carry on. And in the process, we were building your skills. When you used to go out, how much of preparation used to be there? How much of traveling time? Sometimes when you used to go to Amritsar in that crowded place, you all used to lead the group. Sometimes when you used to go to the far off trips, I remember Goa or sometimes Dubai, US, you all used to take care of one another. And when we would come back, you would have learned something. And these are the knowledge, the skills, the ability to take decisions, ability to take responsibilities. These are part of what makes us what we are.
How do you think all of this? Okay, so this school provides a person with all of that. But how can someone having all those skills, having all of that mindset, turn that into a career path? Because I think choosing a career nowadays has been so difficult because of technologies developing at a very rapid pace.
Yeah.
Like AI has been taking over industry. People have been losing jobs because of that. How do you think in such a world, how can everyone with all of those mindsets that you just mentioned about can choose a career or get a purpose in life?
See, I have also been thinking as a teacher that what role AI is going to play in my own career, how it's going to affect my students, my team members. And at the moment, AI will evolve in its own. I have no doubts about it, the kind of machines we might have. But at the same time, it requires the minds who would have ethics and values and purpose. Whatever field you will take, today a teacher cannot say I won't use AI. We will be. Because the way it is evolving, and if we don't upgrade ourselves, we won't be doing justice to our students. But then it needs that value, ethics, that purpose, that, as I always say, that language of what you're doing. You might call it as LLM, you might call it as creating the prompts, whatever it might be. But if you're a passionate creator like this, you need that language from heart. For that, you'll have to go beyond AI.
I've always heard you say stuff like I remember coming to you a few months back before like a GP submissions. I'm pretty sure I was working on something similar, maybe like an essay or something. And you told me how AI can never replace our creativity because something like ChatGPT or like Claude, it's very repetitive.
Yeah.
Because of which it cannot write all of that stuff for us. But what I believe is if we don't take help from any of it at this point, we would just lag behind in life. For us is just going to slow down by a lot.
The point is, we need to be with the flow. And being with the flow sometimes is very exhausting. You have your personal, human, other things. But at the same time, it also brings in you can jump in anytime. And in the meantime, pick up books and some of the things. And I'm sharing this there. I was looking at the way book reading, book clubs, book publishing has increased. It hasn't gone down.
Definitely.
We are reading more than before, and better books are coming out. So you see, things will move together, and machine will be machine. We'll have to be friendly with it, and keeping the essential skills which we spoke about. I think we can do well. Together, we'll make it a better place.
For sure. Also, we were just talking about this. You just asked me how I plan to pursue college. And I'm still confused about it. I'm almost done with grade 11. I'll be in grade 12 just in like 2-3 months. My exam finals are starting within a month. And after all of that, I, like many people, are confused about what to do in life. They don't have a plan because what society and what this schooling system makes us think is decide what we need to do, because even in DP 11 or even in ninth, we're narrowed down to subjects. We're given us an option that yes, there are in DP especially, there's just 6 subjects you can choose out of which 2 are languages and 1 is math. And when we have such a restriction, how do you think someone can choose a life path so early? And how do you help people do that?
A very good question. Some of the choices that you shared are futuristic choices. Language, again, to create whatever you're going to do. And maths which is the core of everything. Even AI is
Definitely
going to hugely be dependent on that. Technology is a tool through which it will go. So there's the basic that even whatever you do, you'll be helped there. At my time, we didn't need to know math so much, statistics. But when we came in research, we understood we have to do that additional course. Because I love doing it, so it did not take me much time to, pass through that. Now, when you are talking about some of the people around you are always ready with, I'm doing this because I want to do this. You're lucky, one, the times are you have so many options. Do not bind yourself that you're too young. Today, I had a student who was a great software engineer. And day before, I think it was a couple of days ago, Grok has released its new version. And he just wrote to me, ma'am, what is my degree worth of? At that time I shared with him, this is the best time for you now. Play with it, create things that you think you can use your expertise in that one. These changes are happening rapidly. So whatever you are happy with, do that. And the path will come. You will have to be ready. And I have been reading this, I've been listening to people, experts. In your life, you will change at least 15 careers. So start where you want to start. Do not worry. Being a doctor is not enough. Being an engineering is not enough now. A doctor has to look at robotics, and an engineer has to look at the designing tools. Everything is going parallelly.
In this way, don't you think everything's just going to get more complicated as life progresses? Would things never get a little more simple again?
We will be overwhelmed because the pace that the world is, we are overwhelmed. But at the same time, we will also understand we can't be everywhere in everything. So we'll have to find our niche. It is normal to be overwhelmed because it's your age, you think everything is achievable, which is. But this is where you hold yourself and say, what gives me smile? What is it that I dream about? What is it that I am ready to fight and I'm ready to make mistake, to know, to explore, to stand for? And this is where, I say these are good times. Otherwise, remember a couple of years of ready-made choices. Girls will go here, boys will go there. Or you will do this and you will do that. Overwhelming is, I know, intimidating. But at the same time, just hold and you will be, as I say, path will come. That's for sure.
You were just mentioning about one of your old students who mentioned you about software engineering, and he's like how AI is just taking over his work. Could you elaborate on that, or share another example where a student of you struggled through life trying to achieve something and not just to success? Because a lot of people talk about success on social media, or like how this theory of overnight success has been really popping out on social media. Well, in reality, that's not the case. People tend to face a lot of the struggles which are usually hidden, which usually people are just working through nights, covering through gaps that they missed. So, could you share on something like that?
Yeah. There are, I would share two cases. And she is one of the very renowned journalists now, working. She came from a very humble family, lost her father at very early age. And like her two brothers were very successful. Mother worked hard and brothers were very successful because they got into engineering and they got into the CA. And she was also too, because she had to prove something, but she wanted to read literature, she wanted to do English, communication, get into things. It took us a lot of time to convince her when she's making choice for her heart, she's not doing wrong. Had to sit with parent and share what she wants to do. And she committed to herself that I'm going to achieve this, and she kept the commitment. And today, when I see her there on the screen, I feel so proud that what rough time she went through. So many times she took those steps back, but no, I'll go to sciences. Because she was a brilliant student. There was no reason why she couldn't have been a successful engineer or a doctor. But she took that step away. And first 4 months were traumatic because she was looking at the struggle of the family. And she thought, I have to be independent, because very rightly, she had to be financially very independent. And proof that the journey has been worth. But I think today she's far more independent, far more creative, joyous. And when she comes back, the way she walks the corridor with those affection and with those feelings, affection and sharing her. So this is what is. Another of my student, he's also was the only child of illustrious parents.
Okay.
And love for music. And he had no choices. He had to take sciences. There was no choice that he could make. And I could see him struggling, He would be doing fine in his studies. So he came to me and he says, how do you think if I go for the Chicago School of Art, Music? And that was topmost. And when he came for the first time, like you all come, you do not know what kind of answer would come in, Would it be the same kind of do your studies and do what you want to do later? I said there are two things. First, you'll have to clear SAT. Then you must have a portfolio. You must go to some expert, create your portfolio of the programs with that, and then put variety in it, and then let's see what happens. And he was in ninth, and he agreed to do that. He went, created the music, created art, and came back, beautiful portfolio, started his own student blog, his parent didn't know till he was in 12th that his SAT score was very good and TOEFL was good, because his heart was clear that somehow we'll fight it out. And then came the time when I had to sit with the parents, and they were shocked. First denial, we had to argue it out, and I knew it's going to come like that. And then again, the dialogues continued. No, nothing doing. This is not going to happen. But then came his admission. We'd finished that, and his Common App was accepted, and he was chosen there. And he earned a big scholarship. So today he's settled there, teaching there, which is, again, for me, a great journey.
In both of these stories you shared, in the first one you talked about commitment, and in the second one you talked about how the student put his heart out towards art. How do you think both of those two things play a role in someone shaping anything, building anything in life?
It's again, there are both. A commitment is to what you believe in. If you're colored by every jolt that you get, every question then it means that heart is still not strong for that. So commitment comes automatically. If your heart doesn't budge from what you want to do, Second is, when your commitment is clear, you see one path, second path, third path. You will take the one that you know is best.
But how do you think one can achieve that in any field? What if I'm trying to do something, I am putting my heart to it, but I'm ultimately getting no results out of it?
Don't
What would I
expect
do?
it. You see, again, I would say the remote control effect on the young generation. Everything needs time to build. You can't build a dream in a day, beta. You can't be. I would also take example whether it is Bill Gates or it is the great Apple founder. You can't be the way they worked hard, way they proved to the world. It was through lots of failures. Sometimes didn't have food. Sometimes had to walk bare feet. A lot of the people who've achieved have to struggle. But again, commitment comes that nothing budged that dream. If there is doubt, start looking for 2, 3 options because you're a blessed lot. You have so much to, correlate, extend, or even find a possibility through that.
So it's about being resilient and keep going in life.
And believing that what it is. And this will only come when you walk, find this, non-acceptance, failures, judgments. And when you pass through that, you see where you are. That's what's going to bring that small victory, large victory. That's going to make it happen.
But when we talk about putting yourself out there, putting your heart to something, people will have to step out in public. For an example, if I'm starting with something like this, I have to step out, put myself out there in public and do all of this. But a problem that I or other people face is we get a lot of criticism.
Yeah.
We're talking about this before as well. How do you think we can deal with it?
The vulnerability has to be changed into resilience. You all, as I said, you've been brought up in the fragile ecosystem. Your school, your home, everyone knows you one-to-one. They know how to talk to you and lead you towards that. The world is of a different shade, beta. That is hardcore, as we say, experience, negativity, jealousy. You will have to go through those. So as always, as I say, let them come as feelings. Do not let them sit. Allow them to pass through you. Do not find escape or do not turn your back towards them. Everything will have to be faced. And the moment you start facing, you will be so surprised how courageous and how brave you are.
How do you think schools face students like us, students like me, everyone in the school, into people who can actually face these problems? Because how to face uncertainties of life isn't taught by educational curriculum. It's taught by the values of schools. And being in this school, I'm pretty sure I've been taught a lot beyond just academics. So how do you do that?
Uncertainties also should be accepted. We know the change is the only fixed thing. There isn't anything else that's fixed. So forget about the physical things around us. Even our mind sometimes, when you look at, why did I do that? How could I do that? At the same time, there is awe and curiosity when you tread into something unknown and say, oh, I could do that. Again, it is about moving, taking each thing as it comes. Serendipity, is a good word whenever we are juggling between the soft and the hard words. So take life as it comes. Keep yourself very stable with who you are. Never allow anybody, anything, any situation to doubt you. Because that's where the first journey begins. You'll be a bit vulnerable because you've been brought up with everything that we share. The world, as I told you, is absolute dark. But again, that's what world is. In that darkness is light. There are people who are doing good, who you will meet, who will teach you so many things. That's going to happen.
That's all from my side.
Thank you
so much.
Always proud of you, Dharya. And I know one day I'll be doing bigger interview.
For sure.